Look, he starts working when I turn the camera on. Oh wait, I'm the one standing here. So this video is for MOPAR. I believe he's in Australia. Talk to him every once in a while on YouTube. And he was asking what grit sandpapers do we use. So I figured I'd do a quick video. It's easier just to do a video so you can kind of see what we do. So what we do is when we're doing block sanding, this is what we use here with our blocks. And that's 80 grit. And we use that on the block to knock down any putties or bondles or any of that kind of stuff, but we do not use bondo in our shop. It's not allowed in our shop. So usually it's just a little tiny thin layer or skim of body putty, and that's the metal glaze. And then after you get that on there, you'll knock it down with the 80, and then you fine block it out with 120 grit. And after you get it knocked down with the 120 grit, we use polyester primer. And well, let me back up a little bit. So when you get everything to bare metal, you put it in primer sealer. So the whole car is in primer sealer before you even start. And then you go and hammer and dolly out all your metal first. And then when you start block sanding, no matter how much the metal that you have blocked out, you're still gonna have spots that are gonna show up after your block sanding with that primer on there. And it'll show up, and then you can start knocking and hammering and dulling some more dents out or whatever you got to do. And if you have any little imperfections or whatever that are bad enough that needs putty, like on this right here, this is so fine you wouldn't need putty, but there's certain spots that you're gonna have to use putty on crazy shapes or whatever. And after you get that putty knocked down, like I said, with the 80 first and then the 120 grit after that, you get it all blocked down. Then you want to put your primer surfacer over the top of that, and you get the whole car in primer surfacer. And that's what this is right here. That's what we're block sanding right now. And right now, like I was saying, we've got like 6 gallons of primer on this car, and that's between the primer sealer and the primer surfacer. And the primer surfacer is the stuff that we're sanding now. So the primer surfacer, what you want to do is you want to sand that down. You want to kind of just knock the glaze off of it. And what we use for that is 120 grit, I believe. What is this? No, it's 240 grit. 240 grit. You can see it upside down there. And you want to try to use high quality papers. 3M is a really good brand. And then this brand here is it's made in Switzerland, and it is Speed 1950 Speed. I guess that's the brand, but it's made in Switzerland. And then this is 3M here. But awesome stuff right here, amazing. And then anyways, before each coat of primer, the last coat of primer, you get everything wet sanded and you get all your imperfections out so it's dead on perfect before you put your more primer surfacer on it or more primer sealer on it or whatever you want to do. But I'll show you what happens when we wet sand this. And we wet sand this with 600 grit, and that's also 3M brand. And that's 600 grit. And what we'll do is we'll use a block. So everything's been blocked out with a big block. And you don't want to use a soft block like this. This is really just for knocking stuff, like putty or whatever. You want to knock that off. But you want to use one of your hard rubber blocks, like these Durablocks. And when you get everything knocked down with some fine paper, then what happens is we come through here and we wet sand it with 600 grit. And I'll show you why you do that. When you do it with 600 grit, this is what your finish looks like afterwards. So when you put the clear coat over this car, that's what you end up with. It looks like glass. And that's when you get them show car finishes. And you can see that's absolutely perfect. And then, you could run water over the car and then it'll show up all your little imperfections. And you can put some fine sandpaper, real fine sandpaper, like 600 grit on a block and block it all out one last time before you put your primer sealer on it right before paint. But anyways, go check out MOPAR. Like I said, I think he's in Australia. Really good dude, always talking to him on YouTube. and wanted to do a video for him real quick. He was asking some questions, so there you go, NZ MOPAR. Merry Christmas, brother. Thanks for watching.